Welcome to Chapter 4, Ratio and Proportion. This is continued from Module 4.5.A, where we were talking about calculate applications and solving applications for percents. In this section and in the next movie, we're going to talk about special applications of percent calculations. And I think what I really want to point out the most is that in 4.5.A, we really looked at percent or problems in applications involving percentages that we could solve by translating. These are special applications, and so they have titles over them, and so I want that to cue you in that these are going to be proportion problems for the most part, and you'll set them up differently. You won't have to do the translation like we did with the of and the is in the last chapter, or in the last section. So pay careful attention that these are special applications. First one we're going to look at is sales tax. Sales tax is all over the country, except for we don't have it statewide here in Alaska. You will find it in some of the cities. A sales tax of 6% is often stated as 6 cents on the dollar because it is 6%, or 6 out of 100, or 6 out of a dollar, which equals 6 cents to the dollar. So, we're going to use proportion equations, and this will hopefully being able to set these up will make this fairly easier for you to be able to solve these types of special problems. Again, so this one is called sales tax, and we're going to look at sales tax over the list price. So you have something that costs $5 in Palmer, because they have a tax there, and they're going to have a tax rate of an amount over 100. So the total cost is the list price plus the sales tax. So it's how much it is for the item plus the tax on the item. So in this case, in this problem, if the retail sales tax rate is 7.75%, how much would you pay for a multimeter? That's a tool that measures voltage and amperage. For oftentimes electricians will use that, and so that lists for $76.50 in this case. So what we'll do is they have the problem to where it's set up, and you saw that special problem like the way that they had it earlier. Sorry about that. Let me get my pen instead of moving it around, and we're going to use that as our problem to be able to figure this out, and we're going to substitute in what we know. So the tax rate, tax rate over here is 7.75%, and the list price, so list price here is $76.50. The question is asking what is the retail sales tax, so we don't know that, but we do know it's 7.75 pennies over 100 pennies. And so with this, we can just cross multiply and divide. And so we will go 76.50 times 7.75. And that is $592. No, that's not, just kidding. Because remember that this is a percent, and so we will take that 592 and we will divide that by 100, and $5.92, and let's call it $5.93, since we need to round up on that last penny. Okay, so that's that is the total sales price. So this right here goes up here. Excuse me, not the total cost. That is the tax, and just to make sure that we see this is a dollar sign. And so what we do is we take our total cost is going to be the list price, so we'll bring that back here, so $76.50 plus our sales tax, $5.93, and get our calculator back again, and $5.93 plus $76.50, and our total is going to be $82.43 for the multimeter. Total is $82.43. All right. Let's go to the next special type of problem. So looking at interest problems, interest, as many of us know, as adults, it's the amount that the lender is paid for using their money. So we go to Bank of America and we use our Alaska Airlines card, and they let us put a couple $100 towards our Safeway bill or Costco or whatever it is, and then they charge us interest for that. The longer and more you use it, the more interest you have to pay, and that's how they make their money. The principal, by definition, is the amount of money that is lent or borrowed, and so how much you basically spend. So with simple interest, you can calculate simple interest. Again, this is a proportion problem, and so we're gonna substitute in the annual interest rate. And the one thing, please note that these are annual interest rates, and our annual interest and the annual interest rate, and that means that it's per year, so 12 months. So make sure that you're always paying attention on those types of problems. Don't let them trick you. If they say 6 months, then it's 0.5 years, and then so over the principal that you're spending. So let's go ahead and look at our problem then. So suppose you have $5,000 in a CD you get from the bank, and so you're getting the money now this time because you're putting out $5,000 to the bank, and now you're earning 1.25% on that. And so how much interest do you actually get in a year for that? Well, let's see. So the interest rate on this, annual interest rate, earning 1.25% interest annually, and so that's going to be right here, and it's asking for the annual interest, and it's $5,000 principal. So we'll go ahead and set this up a little bit better here, and we'll say we'll just use I for our interest rate over 5,000, and our 1.25 is going to be our annual interest rate over 100, and going ahead and calculating this out, 5,000 times 1.25 is $62.50, and that equals 100i. Divide that off, or basically just take the 62.50 and move the decimal over 2 places, and the annual interest at 1.25% for $5,000 is $62.50. Now that was for a year. So now what if it is only for 9 months? Well, with 9 months, we can figure that 9 months is 3/4 of a year. 9 over 12, or 3/4 of a year. And so we'll just simply multiply the annual interest amount that we got from Part A by 0.75, or 3/4. And so $62.50 is a number that we had that was for the $5,000 in 1 year at 1.25% interest. And so for only 9 months, then $62.50 multiplied times 3/4. Remember, I have to turn that into a decimal, 0.75. So you instead would earn $46 and we'll call it 88 cents. Okay, so remember, special problem having to do with percents, gets to use the proportion, and so has these proportions set up. Make sure you go and look at how these are set up so you can do it correctly on your homework. Commission is another special type of problem. Salespeople are paid on commission. Commission is usually added on to what they get for their salary. And so a commission is a share of the sales receipts, basically. It's a percentage of the sales income. So you can look at whatever the commission is, and that's how much they get over the amount of sales based on their commission rate. Some people have better commission rates than others. And so in this case, we're looking at a lumber broker. He pays 12% commission on all sales. And so if you sell $4,000 worth of lumber and you substitute in the 12% down here, and it's on $4,000 is how much you make, or how much the sale is, you calculate it out and you're able to make $480 on the commission. And so if you add that to a salary, hopefully that's a total salary at the end of the week. But they're just asking for just the commission for one sale right here. So if you have any questions, go ahead and you can always email me or contact me. Hopefully this helps to answer some of your homework, and we will do one more set of videos for this chapter.